Hello and welcome. So tired. This is me at the moment. So tired. I need to find somewhere to sleep. Evening, Jay. Welcome to the stream. This is the avatar of me. Um, so, pop Laffy out the way. Can't really have her on camera too much because the way the plush is, she tends to try and flash her underwear off. It's like, no. But then it is Laffy, so it's what's expected. There, she can sleep in the corner. So yes, hello, welcome to the stream. Too much blood in the caffeine stream. Yes. Going to fix that. So, gone back to work, which is good in a way. Get to see people, and it's nice to feel like I'm doing something. So the downside is I come home shattered. But I'll get used to that. It's just getting used to work again. However, the main important part of that is I had a lot of art that was still in my desk at work, so I've picked that up and had to sift through to see if there was anything I could do. So, going through it, there was that one, which I came across. Now, I'm not going to actually do anything with this, I just thought it was a nice piece to show off, like my old colouring skills, if you will. So that was done when I first got Pro markers rather than the Copics that I got. And they work in a very similar way, it's just the tips on them are very hard compared to the Copics. The Copics you can brush and almost flick and get a attempt at a soft edge graduation kind of thing, whereas the Pro markers are very hard. Benefit to that is that you get a nice crisp line with it. But yeah, I thought I'd dig that out, and you can see my horrendous, off the paper there, horrendous attempts at trying to shade, which didn't work. That was me trying out the blending pens and everything, and it just weren't for working. Other interesting ones I found in there was the wonderful Agent of Chaos, Akagi-chan, as based off I can't believe I can't remember his name. Blah. Excuse me a moment, also quick look up his Reddit handle, because my brain... Captain Ethan, that's it. Or Corporal Ethan, sorry, misread the name there. Ugh, even when I have it on the screen I can't read it. Yes, there is a guy on Reddit who does comics based on Azure Lane, and most notably Akagi-chan, which is a miniature version of one of the other ships. But the comics are hilarious, and she is like an agent of destruction, and I couldn't help but try and draw my own little fan art of it, if you will, so that's what I did for that. Found that in the folder and had a good giggle. But the main focus for tonight will be this image. Now, here's the camera not actually focusing on the focus. Might change because I'm going to be lining this up anyway. So, what we have here is a very old image. I say very old. It was 18th of April, 2018. And you can tell it's a work one because it's on the work details on my sheet. So yeah, what was that? Yeah, the 17th I got given that. So this was drawn, or at least finished, the day after. I didn't need this sheet anymore. So yeah, I used to do this. It used to be my rotas were handed to me on printouts, and then I used to turn the page over and sketch. And I remember this being a rather warm, hot day when I drew this, and I wanted it to be rainy because I was boiling. So I drew this, Loyu in the rain, a couple of cats, and she was just shielding them with the umbrella. And I found it again, I was like, I'd like to colour that. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to line, to start with, I'm going to line just Loyu and the cats. And like the initial part of the pavement. I'm not sure what I'm going to do for the background. Now I might replicate what I've got here, even though it's very hard to see what that is. It's supposed to be the pavement running off into the distance, you've got the grass there and cars driving by and so on. But I don't know whether I might just want to clip it so that the focus is just Loyu, and in the background it's almost blurred so that you're only just forced focus on. Hey Seba, welcome to the stream. Rainbow glitter. Ooh, ooh, ooh! I've killed people for this. No glitter here, boy. We don't do that glitter. I'm sparkly enough without it. Plus, you get glitter anywhere, and that's it. It's there for the rest of your life. Yes, yes. So yeah, that's. I said I'll start with just drawing Lou and the cats, and then I might color without lining some of the background, just to give it a frame of. I mean, now my mind's eye looks at this. It's basically saying to crop the background to just a small bit behind it to give it something, but not try and fully detail it, because I didn't detail it in the first place. But yes, I'm about to turn it off. I'm like, no, I need that on the lightbox. Right, okie dokie, I'm gonna turn the lightbox on, so it's gonna get bright for a moment, so you may wish to sort of cover your eyes whilst the camera adjusts. Light going on now. Bright light! And camera has adjusted, you may look again. Oh, yeah, you can sort of see the problem is you can see all the light, all the gubbins of my timesheet behind it. But yes, that's the other reason I wanted to move this onto a new sheet, just to get it off something where it doesn't have the line up. The other thing I managed to pick up that I'm going to see about using is I have some graphite coloured pens. So that's what I want to try and use. So they're graphic line markers. It's kind of hard to show because now the light's behind everything, so you can't see it when I put it on camera. GG, man. GG, you should have shown this beforehand. Yeah, there we go. And slowly move it away so the camera could adjust back to the brightness again. Face mouse is in front of the brightness. That's what you get for putting glitter there. It's like watching the intro to Tron. Wait, cool. You mean I'm going back to the 80s? Woohoo! That was the good years. Right. So yeah, I suppose I best try and sketch, as they say. I'm just going to dive straight in with these and just mark it up. But before I do, importance get done first. There's a cuppa to drink. Yes, tea drinking ASMR. Tea. Alright. Not sure if I'll try and change her face as well. I was never happy with how her face looked. Oh, that's another thing. Yes, before I dive straight in with that. I might want to try changing her hairstyle to the, try and get it more in line with what I'm doing new. So first of all, I shall go pencil, and then I shall line. Click. I forget when I'm doing these updates, I'm not getting my head on camera. No, okay. Get the sleepy one on camera. Right, so let's just see about, at least if I'm going to update the image, excuse me, I can do a pencil sketch and then turn the lightbox off so that you'll be able to see what I'm doing whilst I line it all in. It won't be this blindingly bright thing that I'm working on. Is that too bright for... Yeah, it looks way too bright. Hang on. Webcam. Let me adjust your settings. Hello, webcam. Where are your settings? Why is it... What? Oh, that's the button after. That's the button. My mouth just didn't want to work. Okay, yeah. Can I grab hold of one of these things? Yes. Click apply on that for now. Can you see? And at the moment, what on earth is going on with this? Oh, that's as low as it will go. Gotcha. Oop, that's going the wrong way. That's going the wrong way, camera. Ugh, it looks ugly, but at least it's not blinding you whilst I'm doing this. So yeah, I'll get the basic sketch done. So I'm just going to quickly and lightly put the initial lines on there. So how is everyone this evening? Hope you're all doing well. Not getting up to too much mischief. That's my job. I am a mischief maker. Well, hello Volon. Welcome to the stream. Thanks for popping by. Just a lazy day here. Was stuck waiting on the post. Turned up at 2 PM. And the bit that you needed wasn't in. Oy. Yeah, I know all about waiting in for the post. Had to wait in for a Partial Force one, so because I don't have a front door, I was like, oh, okay, I'll do some work on the bicycle, because it turned around and said it would turn up between 11 and 12, so I was like, right, I'll go work on the bicycle, so I can leave the gate open, I can sit there, he can see me, I can see them. And so it was about 10 to 11 I was outside, and I checked letterbox and such, just in case it turned up really early. Nothing there, right, I thought, brilliant. So I did all the work on the bike and it got to 12:30 and I was like, he's still not turned up, there's still no letter, not quite sure. So I thought, just to be on the safe side, I'll check the shop and make sure that he hasn't just dumped it in the shop, because we've had that one before. And then I found jammed in the door to the shop is one of the, we tried to deliver to you, but you weren't in. And I was like, at which point and what time did you turn up? Because to get to the shop you would have had to walk past the open driveway doors, gates, and you would have seen me. So I went down to the local post office and they're like, oh, he hasn't turned up to us yet. He doesn't turn up till later on. Yeah, you'll have to come in tomorrow. So I just turned around and said, well, you know, I've taken the day off work today because I knew it was coming, and he didn't, you know, knock or deliver it. So they agreed to let me come back in after he'd been in, and I managed to pick it up that way. But yeah, it's just they hate waiting in for post. They're more annoying by the fact that what you wanted wasn't actually in there. So let me just. do that. That gives me cats there. I need to try and draw the cats better. I can't draw cats for the life of me. Right, let's turn that off for a second. Turn that on to manual. And then turn that on to manual? No, you won't. No, auto even. You won't? Okay, brilliant. Thank you very much for that. I'll adjust it myself. There we go. So you can sort of see the imagery now without it being blindingly bright in your face. Hopefully. Just adjust that up a bit. Right, okay. So, now what I plan to do, because originally I was just going to copy it over and do it, and it just hit me as I was coming to do it. I wasn't happy with the original face, so I'm probably going to have a quick sketch at that and redraw the face. Let's just hold it up a bit more so you guys can see it as I'm pointing. Now, I don't know about you, but to me that face is flat. It doesn't look like a round face that's, you know, curving around. It's more like a face that's flat. And also these are the old style bangs. So I want to see if I can put the newer style in there and still have the image looking similar. This is really awkward wrist position to hold this up. So I want to see about trying to put the new style in. If it doesn't work, I could just go back to the old style and it's, you know, just copying off the old image. And then I need to work on drawing the cats, because I can't draw animals to save my life, so I may just have to Google an image of cats just so I can sit down and go, oh, that's how cats are drawn. Unos momentos, more tea. Right. Pop a bit of music off for myself in the background. And I noticed on my latest Nier stream, it's already been flagged because of the songs in the game. I'm just like, ugh. I mean, it's nothing drastic. It's just one of these things that comes up with, you can't monetize this video. It's like, well, I wasn't monetizing it anyway, so it's no loss. But it's just like, bloody hell. At least they're not trying to take the video down because of it. They're just like, hey, that's our music. We want money for it. And I'm just like, well, I'm not getting any money for it, so you're welcome to the money I don't get from it. So, I did have a quick look on for Nier Replicant, and I can't remember what made me have a look, but I looked at the reviews for Nier on Steam, and then I found out that Square Enix have done a bit of a dodgy. So they've apparently re-released it for Xbox Games Live thingy, and they've remastered it so that it doesn't have all the bugs. Now I haven't come across many of the bugs, but one that I do notice is on certain cutscenes it's very stuttery until it gets to a certain point, and then it flows smoothly. Flows smoothly even. And you may notice it on the stream and think it's just the stream. No, that's what it looks like on the computer, but apparently they've fixed that. But they're not fixing the Steam version. And it's like, kind of doesn't really make me want to be buying the other one, but I kind of want to play the game. And unlike a lot of the people who are commenting, I don't have access to a console to play the game. And I don't want to go out and fork out for a console to play a game. And I'm just kind of hoping that this is a thing where they're just like testing it on Games for Live, and they're like, oh yeah, we just wanted to make sure that it worked before we rolled out across all platforms and had to deal with numerous bugs, which, you know, would make some sense. You don't want to release something that could be an issue across multiple platforms. Let's add her to there. So yeah, I'm hoping I am hoping, but it's Squeenix. I'm not confident. But a man can dream. A man can dream. But yeah, still on track for being able to play Replicant round about the time it's released. Although I know that there's going to be a lot of people streaming it at that point. And they'll be like, how do I cope with all this? Because all these other people are going to be a lot more entertaining. Although I was having a thought in work. If I wanted to, because I was thinking about like VTubers and stuff like that, and I was kind of like, well, I could go down that route. And I was like, but what would I do? And then part of me was inspired by the BattleBots Rusty. I was like, I could do a robot, and then put it on a British accent and have BritBot, the inept gamer robot. Because it is one of those odd things where I think that if I could manage that, and this is very pipeline thinking here, but it could be something that takes up better because it's not my face as such, which could put people off. Robot. I mean, you can just imagine a. Hang on, I need to get a picture of Rusty so you can see what this robot was like. Oh, I don't get any Wi-Fi on my fracking phone, do I? Nope. Unos momentos. I shall look for. Come on, Rusty BattleBots. There we go. Again, I'm now trying to Google with bloody. I put him away. But Rusty was brilliant. Rusty was a robot from the latest series of BattleBots, the 5th season, and it was built out of whatever the guy could find around the farm. He didn't have sponsors or anything like this, or it wasn't high tech or all this, but it did really surprisingly well. There we go. And a lot of people liked it. And the creator is, he's one of these people that you can almost get the charisma from him. He's the friendly, open type that would find fun in anything, and he just comes across as like a real nice guy. But yeah, he's there on his own. No big team to back him. It was just him and Rusty the robot. And Rusty was just brilliant. Not in terms of battle capability. I mean, held his own. I'll give him that. Lasted longer and was fairly durable. But yeah, Rusty was definitely not the I'm going to win everything, but people were cheering for Rusty whenever Rusty came on. And you got the impression that if anyone was to beat Rusty, that person would be seen as the bad guy. And they had like an offshoot of the matches in a separate thing, and in that Rusty did get beaten, and the guy who won the fight looked like he was going to burst into tears. But in that fight, Rusty did not give in. Rusty did not go down quietly. I think by that point had both tracks broken. Was tipped up on one side and desperately trying to right themselves, and they got themselves up, and everyone cheered when Rusty got upright. And then he didn't move, and that was it. He was counted out, and the other guy won, and he looked like he was in tears. Like, I can't believe I've beaten Rusty. But yeah, you can see Rusty. It was that kind of he was a fake, yeah. And yes, I looked at that and I thought something not necessarily as that, but it's the idea of like a rusted looking battered and dinged robot just came across as like this thing, and then just having like trying to put a British accent on, like a hello. Yes, I'm here to play games, and I'm going to do my best, rather spiffingly, to be able to play all these games whilst talking in a rather funny accent all the time. Yes, this could be rather entertaining, or perhaps not. We're not quite sure. We shall find out, shall we? Tally-ho, to whip what? Ha ha! That kind of accent. Which could probably get grating, I'm not sure. It'd be tiring to try and remember to keep doing it, but, it was that kind of fun thought I had at work, which, got me through the afternoon. The kind of weird thoughts where I just start giggling. Anyway, I've been ranting and not actually drunk. I should really do that. But yeah, that was just a random thought of the day. I would say I'm going to have to drink this tea because it doesn't drink itself, but apparently it does, because the amount of times I've come to the cup and it's empty, I'm like, I don't remember drinking that. I'm picturing the robot from the second Wizard of Oz movie in the 50s. I don't know the 50s. Wait. Hang on, I'm going to have to look that one up. I don't think I know that one. Alright, okay. Yeah, because I don't know that one off the top of my head. Oh. It's kind of weird you'd be saying that one with Michael Jackson. I'd be like, no, that's kind of worrying. I know of that one. Not seen it all, but I know of it. Mostly from like, I think it was Nostalgia Critic when I used to watch that. God, that's going back a while. Oh, wait, no, I think I've just given it a... Yep, I've just accidentally given it really goofy eyes there. I accidentally put the eye in the wrong place. Instead of looking at an object here, she was looking at an object about here. Browser fell over. No worries, no worries. It's one thing that can be fun to do, is you don't necessarily have to draw the entire face, you just draw eyes and then put the actual eyes in different places and see what looks you can get for it. TikTok? I'm lost. I only know TikTok as an annoying app thingy. Let's have a look. Oh, wow, that is creepy and also kind of interesting to see. Hang on, let me just move that window so I can see it. Well, if I was envisioning a mustache, big green wind-up soldier robot returned towards a different one. Alright, okay. So, not the annoying app. Gotcha. But yeah, I was envisioning having the mustache so that when the jaw moved down, the mustache twisted up, so there wouldn't be a mouth per se, as you normally would get, but you'd have movements for when it was talking, and then the mustache would help with that. Almost like if you were like a Transformers faceplate, like Optimus is moving down, but then have a big bushy mustache on it. And then have one of the eyes would have like a monocle that can sort of pivot in and out on top of it. So if you wanted to do reading time or anything like that, this monocle would just flick over. It'd be an empty monocle, there wouldn't be anything in because the eyes would do the automatic adjusting, but it'd be there for the look. And then a top hat with like heat vents on the top. Because part of me was crazy and thought it'd also be fun to make it as a costume. Oh wow, okay. Ah, I see, the good old attack is to stand there and spin around and flail. Gotcha. Alright, the more you know. It looks uncomfortable as all sin to try and walk in though. One would after World War surgery had the tin hat and the NATO placement. Yes, I did get the soldier vibes from it. Sort of looking at it, I was like, it screamed soldier to me. So, you know, the props to them. If that's what they were going for, they got it. Right, looking at that, that shoulder's too far out. So let's... The advantage to doing this is I can correct a lot of the errors that I pick up. That bag's going to go over that shoulder. But yeah, I don't think I've ever actually seen that film then. Which shouldn't come as a surprise to anyone who actually knows me, because the amount of films I can turn around and go, I've not seen that. And then I can turn around and go, so, has anyone seen that Biggles movie? And everyone looks at me like I'm a nutter. Wait, no, it's because I like the Biggles movie. Because of how bad it is. I used to watch it so often as a kid because I never knew any of the issues that were wrong with it. And, oh god, was it when we had my friend from Japan? I think he'd come round and it was me, him and Tsubasa, and we were doing like a tour of England. Or was it before then? Was it? I think it may have been with Sean. God, yeah, I think it was Sean actually, because he knows about the film. Did I just reference a certain military with Camel Pilot? Yes, yes I did. Biggles, Adventures in Time, the movie is. John Deacon doing the soundtrack, Boston's like, well, there's a bit. It depends on how well you like your cheesy films. I mean, to me, I find Biggles brilliant now because it's hilarious at how bad it is, but it's stuff like his time twin knows that he's going to be going, or expects he's going to be going back, so he dresses up in World War II / World War I gear, you know, it's a mix of both, with an Uzi. Not a Stinger or anything like that, no, an Uzi, because that will blend in. But it's got like all the old 80s tropes, where, you know, you get the obvious like love interest / damsel in distress at a particular point and all that jazz. But it's Biggles himself who just saves the day. The guy was just, he was having fun. He knew it was bad and he was having fun with it. But yeah, my favourite part has to be when Biggles ends up time travelling. The fact it was with news just tells you where it was filmed. Well, it was filmed in London. That's the best part. It was more or less like an entirely British filmed video. Hello, Penana, welcome to the stream. Yes, we're doing a drawing of Loyu. If you've probably seen it before, but it's that one. I was just going to trace it in colour until I realised I needed to edit parts, so I'm now editing the parts before I line it in. But yes, as I was saying with Biggles, Biggles goes to the modern day, quote unquote modern day, 1980s. There's a guy walking around with a boombox bigger than most PCs nowadays. And he sees a helicopter, Bearing in mind he's supposed to be a World War One pilot, so has no clue what a bloody helicopter is. He climbs in the helicopter, and his time twin gets in and he's like, "Do you know how to fly this thing?" And Big Wiggles just looks at him and goes, "If you can fly a Sopwith Camel, you can fly anything," and then proceeds to fly the helicopter perfectly. As a kid, I found it hilarious where if you can fly a Sopwith Camel, you can fly anything. To me, I found it hilarious because I never knew there was a plane called a Sopwith Camel. I thought it was just making something up. But it was watching it again when I was older, and I was like, the controls are completely different. How? What? Where? But yeah, it's just that bad of a film that it's fun to watch for how bad and cheesy it is. I can't remember that one. Yeah, it is a bit old. No, we're not in April yet. Yeah, so on the 18th of April, it will then be 3 years since I drew that one. So things have changed a little bit since then. Originally I was just changing it because I was like, oh yeah, I've decided I want to give her a different hairstyle, which isn't the funky one that she has there. And then as I was sketching it, I'm like, there's a couple of bits of anatomy I don't like. So the face is, on the original image I found the face a bit flat. So I wanted to try and edit that a bit, although, no, I'll give her the wider eyes. I don't know. Okay, so currently drawing, I don't know if these are going to be too wide, but let's just try and camera focus. So I'm giving her fairly wide-ish eyes there. Her original look, last movie of Peter Cushing, yes it was. Which is a bit of a shame for the guy. He has a fantastic film career and ends it on that one. But yeah, I don't know whether to give her, or try and, wait, no, forwards. Try and get her eyes narrowed like that, if you will. I'm not quite sure. It's annoying because I kind of like both. One sort of has her stern but, you know, helpful look. The other one looks more like a child. I suppose I might change it for that. He may have liked it was a nice movie for children. Yeah, there is that. Like I said, I could watch all of it as a kid, apart from there's one scene where they come across the Hun experiments with sound, and it's basically cooking people, and they die horrifically, and then they turn to almost stone but mushable. And at one point, I think just to put the scare into the film, if you will, this woman walks up to one and she sort of touches his face, and it sort of like just sticky, yeah. And as a kid, I couldn't watch that. Now I can watch and go, wow, those effects are a bit naff. But it's one of those things you watch and you think she didn't have to do that. Everyone else was touching stuff like metal pipes and they'd crumble to dust in their hands. I loved watching that part. They were going past tanks and holding onto the barrels and breaking them. And that was the other thing, they had tanks. That's just hit me. I never actually paid much attention. I know they had tanks in World War I, but these were more proper like turret tanks, not World War I tanks. I'll have to watch the film again and find out what the hell they used. But yeah, they grabbed hold of stuff and broke it off, and to me, I just loved watching it, because as a kid, you want to do destruction, you want to grab what. But yeah, she goes up and touches this guy's face and disintegrates it into this gooey, horrible mess, and then screams about it, and she's got bits of him hanging off her hand, and as a kid, I couldn't watch that part. Whenever I watched it, my gran, because it was my aunt who on video, my gran used to sit there and watch with me, I'd turn away, and then she'd tell me when it was good to look again. As a kid, I couldn't watch. It took years before I watched The Lawyer Getting Eaten in Jurassic Park. I don't know what it was that stopped me, that made me so squeamish as a kid, but I couldn't eat that part. Hello, brain, work. I couldn't watch that part for some unknown reason. And yeah, it was just weird. And I just watched it one day. I'm like, why did I ever worry about that scene? It's tame as all hell. I think by that point I'd actually come around to watching Aliens, and I was like, if I can watch this, I can probably watch that scene in Jurassic Park. And then I watched it, and I was so disappointed it wasn't as bad as I thought it was. My imagination had it far worse than what it was. Okay, so I'm going to try narrowing the eyes a bit and then making it look like she's just closing her eyes a tad. Oh, is that my head on camera again? Yes, the other annoying thing is when I sketch, I tend to... God, my eyesight must be awful, because I tend to just try and cram my head as close to the paper as I can. But yeah, Saber, sorry, I've noticed that you'd mentioned your dad's a Beagle fan. You could probably mention the Beagles movie and he'd probably be like, oh god, I know that one, or just like, that film is so bad. It'd be interesting to sort of see the reaction, but yes, it's one of those very polarizing films. I will say very Twiglets, but that's not the thing, is it? What is it? Marmite, that's it. Although Twiglets work just as well, you know. I'm not getting these eyes done right now. That's... I really should try drawing characters with their heads in different positions more, because this is interesting to try and do. That's better. Apologies, you guys probably can't see. Oh, oh, also done it again. I've put it out. Okay, I got the shape alright. I just put the eye in the wrong place. Well, the iris, I should say. No, that isn't right. Yeah, that eye's awful. Problem is, like, I should just trace the old image at this point. Argue with this. To be honest, one of those things where I know that some actors have mentioned it in their reports on it. To me, Peter Cushing was always going to be Grand Moff Tarkin. That's the first film I saw him in, so that's what I knew him as. Well, that's not right either, because that's... Oh, for the love of... Okay. I'm struggling to match the eye, so let's just get rid of both and start again. Right, the nose will be lower, because her head is going to be aiming down more, so... Oh god, that's awful. I was trying to draw the line from the nose to where the eyes would be. Let's try boxing the eyes in. So what I'm going to try and do is draw boxes for where I want the eyes to be, so I can mentally map them on a sphere, and try and make them go around the head rather than before it wasn't really doing that. Would that be lower? Okay, it would. This was going well until a few minutes ago, and I was like, I'm going to change that, and now I'm like, well, maybe I shouldn't. Oh well. Excretion occurs. Oh, that nose is awful. So, midline, midline, midline. One thing I try to avoid with Liu for her nose is not to have the very anime-esque two sharp points, if you will, fingers orientate, like that. So I round off the nose and sort of give it more of a recurve, so it comes down in a very thin S, if you will, and then curves underneath. And the same with the chin. I try not to make it the pointy chin. I try and smooth it out. And I remember way back when I was in school, there was a lass that I had a bit of a crush on, and she basically said how she hated anime because they all had pointy noses and pointy chins, and it was that comment that made me think, I would do differently. What odd things where I sit back and I think, I wonder how she's doing. I don't like the idea of trying to find people on Facebook. I don't like the idea of stalking them, so I just leave it. It's all in the past now. I just imagine everyone's living happy, good lives and be done with that. There we go, I'm a lot happier with that. So what I did was very faintly put curves on the paper so I knew the curvature of the head. And then one of the old tricks that I was taught, hang on, let me get a scrap bit of paper and I can show you on that. So I can get a pen out and actually do it in a colour you can see. I'll do it on the back of this. It's not a stream if I don't bring out this. Pen. Hello? Where did I put me black pens? I've got the... Oh wait, they're in there. I have a drawer now for my art. I'm trying to be organised. Oops. And I'll just rub the microphone against stuff. Rawr. Because I forget it sticks out. There we go. Pens. Not the easiest drawer to get into. Normally I get everything out beforehand. And good old crappy memory just shit on me because I was like, what was I talking about? I was talking about I was making the face, wasn't I? Yeah, that was it, yeah, because I was going to talk about the old anime technique. So, the way that I've drawn, this is whoever gave Asakawa a black and purple snake path and dress deserves congratulations and says, yes, and yes. I still got to see about trying to draw like an image for like there's a birthday. I was going to try and draw an image for it and completely forgot to do that. But yeah, I need to draw something for her, or of her, fan art of her, for her. Either or. I'm sure she'll appreciate it. I hope she'll appreciate it. Maybe I should ask. I should ask on the next stream. Just ask if I'm okay to do that. Anyway, skipping back to what I was about to try and demonstrate. So when I started drawing. And started getting into my head, use the typical how to draw books and all that sort of thing. They always said you draw a circle, then you add a point on the bottom, and then you've got the rough idea in the face, and you've got like a center line, and so on and so forth. Using this as a very rough guide, if I say that, I'm gonna add in the bits that I add in. I never follow that original sphere, if you will, circle, it should be, because it's not a sphere yet. But I always have at the top of the FOD, that's where the eyebrow will be, that's the area for the eye cheek, obviously, and then it comes down to the chin, and then I'll curve off in the opposite direction there and bring it up for, if they have ears, here. I still try and keep to that shape even if the character doesn't have ears, because it gives me a jawline, a bit sharp there. But what I'll do to get where the eye should be is, I've got the initial line there, so I'll draw the nose off it, so the other person that kind of nose. I then sort of try and imagine how, going around the sphere, what that would be. And they normally say you have an eye, and that's in its box. And then you have a box the same size as that eye, and then you have another box, and then you have the eye. So I roughly try and keep to that. So the boxes I tend to have very shallow in the middle, so it's probably, if you will, taking out that chunk and moving it in, so it's what, about 3/4. But I then will place a box where I want, and then it's a case of fitting the eye in that box. But that's sort of essentially what I've done there in thin form. I use these two guides as the height of the eye in total, whether that be having I've got on this image here, Lou's got her eye partially closed, so you get, that's the top of the eye, that's the lashes, that's the eye, and then you have the bottom lash there, and then you just touch it in, but that gives a indication that the eye is closed. And then if you wanted to, if you needed to draw that one, you could just draw lashes like that, and then they're like, oh my god, I've just seen Madcat when he got up in the morning. Not entirely tempted to try and draw Medusa in that. Got to click on that link. It's the one I'm thinking of then. Yes, it is a very good idea. Come on, link, work. I already got something running in the background that's stopping me viewing that. Or is it just... Oh, it's Twitter! Hang on. I, for some reason, have a massive issue with Twitter on this computer, and it will refuse to load links in Twitter. Paste. Go! I don't know what it is. Oh, ow, ow, ow. It's actually playing sound. Ow, ow, ow. Let's stop that a second. Oh, yes, it's that one. Yes. Yes. We need more Medusa in that. If I don't sketch it before next week, remind me. And I'll do it on next week's stream. We'll come up with something, we'll come up with a design, like a picture we could do, and I'll do it then. That's if I don't sketch it in the meantime, because I get bored at work as well. Again, the only thing with work at the current moment is the work they've got me doing. I'm literally just cracking on. It's non-stop. I mean, I get my breaks and stuff like that, but it's not like before when I was drawing this original logo image. I could have like an hour before I get a phone call. This was obviously pre-human malware, but the role that I did at that point, as crappy as it was, meant that certain times I'd be doing nothing, waiting for a call. Others, they'd put me on what we called the dialer, so we were automatically ringing out to people, and a lot of the time it'd connect to a mobile phone, voicemail, because people knew it was calling, so they didn't want to talk. And we didn't leave voicemails on the initial call. So whenever it came up with a mobile phone, we just turned around to the computer, said mobile phone, and click and wait for the next one. And it used to be so easy because it literally was just move the mouse, click, done, right, sketch back away. Oh, it's another mobile phone, click, done, sketch back away. And I used to love doing that. And the best thing is management were like, yeah, you could do that because there's nothing else happening. Some people used to read, some people would browse the internet on their phones, although that one was tended to be a bit more when the managers weren't around, because they used to piss and whine when we got phones out. Can't have your own phone. But then you couldn't browse half the stuff you wanted to browse on the company internet, because you can't browse that on the company internet. And when I say that, I don't mean anything dodgy. I'm talking stuff like trying to browse BBC News. No, you mustn't know what's going on in the outside world. We forbid you! You cannot know what is happening in the real world! Alright, so let's continue bringing the rest of this sketch up now I've done that. So, just having a quick think about all the creases in the jacket here. Just thinking about how the raincoat would pull and crinkle against the skin. And how it would build up in this corner and then stretch on that one, which would pull that cuff down a bit. Now, did I have that so? It's alright. You can't see what I'm doing here, but I'm actually trying to hold my knees in this position to figure out how. Yeah, so I would want wrist to be. It's half the reason some of my poses are so janky is because it's me testing it on myself. How would that look, I say? Oh, I don't know. Let me find out, and I'll just hold myself in a pose and then try and picture what I look like, apart from a pellet. It works some ways, not necessarily. I've had some weird looks at work where I've done it in the canteen and I've been like, how would this look? And I've got down on one knee. So look. Yusan is Medusa. Yes, so she's done a lot. Oh, I forgot. Yeah, she was Ranger in Azure. I forget about that one. It's like, lady, your boobs are in the way. We want to take off. And yeah, I forgot she did Megadine Luca as well. And yes, she does stream. And well worth following. Because the streams are bilingual. You know, for those that might be like, oh, I don't want to follow a Japanese person because I won't understand it. And she does bilingual really well. I also follow her Instagram because I've got Instagram, so I follow that. And that can be entertaining. I was trying to find one of the images the other day to show my friend for because I remember seeing it because he was talking about how some Japanese people they only look good when they get the makeup on, and you know they don't let themselves be seen without it. And my first thought was an image of that you posted on her, you posted on her Instagram, and it was like she just got up, literally just got up and was like, I feel awful, get a picture for Instagram. And the picture was brilliant because it was the picture of someone who's just got up. And she's just like, I don't feel great. I'm like, you still look great, despite you saying that. You know, you still look. You know, she's got the Asian genes, so she looks really young all the time. Those accursed Asian genes that mean that you don't age. Right, okay, so hang on. That leg we've got on, so that boot needs to be there. And let's put the toe. The toe would be there. Toe would be there. Try and enunciate your words. It sounds like I just said the toe would be there. Toe would be there. Yep, that'd be it, boy. I suppose that's the other thing I could do if I ever decided to do a VTuber, just do a Lancashire one and confuse the hell out of the internet. Hey, welcome to the stream. Today we're going to be doing a bacon stream and making Tordant doll. Rest of the internet, huh? I remember just thinking about this because I'm drawing this part of the image. When I came to draw it, I wanted to be a bit cheeky with it. So yes, you could sort of see the curvature of her around the buttocks, but you couldn't see much. And then I drew the puddle underneath, so she's crouched down in a puddle. And the idea was, you know, the fan service that's almost giving an upskirt, and without actually doing that. And I remember one guy coming over and he looked at it. It was one of these. After I'd drawn it, I was really impressed with how I'd done for the image. It was, I think it was at this time I was sort of moving away from the daily images of her to ones that were more. It would take a few days to draw because I was trying to put more detail in them. And I was really impressed with what I did with this. And this guy comes over and looks and goes, "Yeah, it's not bad. It does look like she's just pissed herself though." And I looked at it, I was like, oh, fuck yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's worse. I think she's 9 years older than me. But yeah, she's like so young. So young looking. And yeah, it's one of those things that they just don't seem to. I don't know if it's like a mix between lifestyle and diets that they have, which is so different. I mean, don't worry, it's one of these things where when I look close at the images, obviously I can see the telltale signs of aging, like around the eyes. It's always a good giveaway. Is what we've learned when I was in retail. Eyes are very, very good indicators of age. But even so, just that casual looks, you know, just having a casual glance over her, and it's sort of like, she's so youthful looking, and a lot of Asian people are, and it's just like, how do they manage this magic? But then I suppose if they told us how they manage this magic, all the beauty product people wouldn't have a job. I remember my first job I used to work when I was back in Accrington was in Superdrug. I just realised that looks awful because that arm's weird. And I remember having to stock the beauty products, and I was just like, what's the difference between this beauty product and that beauty product? And they were like, oh, that one's got this revitalising cream and all that sort of stuff. I'm like, yeah, but what does it do? It's like, it's all the same stuff, it's just skin cream. And the other one was shampoo. Shampoo always makes me laugh, especially the adverts that you still get. It's like, revitalises, you know, tired looking hair and everything, and, you know, brings it back to life. And I'm like, well, it's dead. The hair that you see on the outside of you is dead. It can't revitalise that unless you're talking about actual necromancy here. But then I can't talk about her anymore, you know. Completely missed the actual part of head on there. There it is. No, she needs to give it a shave. It's getting a bit. Strike a match on that. She turned 46, yeah, so 9 years older. Dem's crow's feet. Yep, that's it. But yeah, I'd probably say diet and genetics, just because obviously they don't eat the same shite that we get over here. Still waiting for that one that revitalizes brain cells. Hands off, I'm having some. I could do with some brain cells. Necromancy is just really late healing. Well, you sort of say that, but like, if you look at it like a D&D kind of thing, isn't like casting healing on skeletons what kills them? So you don't really want healing at all when it comes to necromancy. Oh, that hand looks awful. I'm gonna have to draw the thumb. Let's bring it out a bit. Try and put a bit of definition in on there. And do that. Looks better. Looks better. Not so much of this stream being, now I'm going to trace and colour. And I'm just like, I'm going to amend my old artwork. I'm sorry if you can't actually see much of it. It's weird to try and get camera settings all done for looking at this. Oh, Banana, question. Did you want to see what I'm going to be sending up? Or would you rather keep it a surprise? Or if you want, I've actually got two versions of it because I did one and it was too small, so I just drew it again on a different piece of paper. So I could show you that as a teaser, but it's not the final piece. Surprise me. Okie dokie. All I'll sort of say is it's sort of more based on how I remember you for first meeting you, much in the same way that I'm Archer to you. There is another piece I am doing for it. I started that one at work, but that's still sat in work. So I'll have to bring that home tomorrow. For some reason, my brain was just like, what day am I on? You can tell I've gone back to work. What day am I? Where am I? What am I doing? But yeah, I will bring that back and land it in, and then I will be able to send it to you. I was trying to find a envelope here big enough, and then I realised when I was going back to work I can just get hold of one of the big A4 envelopes and then ship it in that. There might be some cereal box to try and I'm going to cut the front and back plate of a cereal box out so that it's keeping it roughly flat. I know it's going to go through raw mail, it's not going to be flat, but it's just to try and keep it somewhat flattish. So yeah, if you find the cereal box stuff in there, don't worry, it's just to keep it flat. I only said that because I did that for sending a picture up to my mum, and she was like, why did you use a cereal box? I'm like, because it was the only bit of cardboard I had to hand. Although my mum knew exactly what I was like, and she was like, did you actually finish the cereal first? I'm like, no. Like, I needed cardboard, so I just grabbed the cereal box. It's like, it comes in a plastic bag, it's fine. Royal Phil, the reason irons were invented. Oh, yes. It's kind of ironic, really, how much work used Royal Mail for sending out documents and stuff like that, and I'm just like, you put a lot of faith in that arriving in, because they don't use the stiffened envelopes, they just chuck it in a paper envelope and off it goes. You know, Royal Phil will take care of it to a given degree of take and care. I need to draw that hand there, I really do. I also need to try and figure out why these, yeah, it's too fat, that's why. So let's bring that in. I can then use that bit for the heel. Also, I really have to thank you for this pencil, because it has been fantastic. And I'm still on the first bit of, I was going to say ink, it's not ink, lead inside there. It's just, I'm like, does it just keep growing or something? So yeah, I will. It's one of the things, I've got that, the refill, but I'm like, part of me's like, what happens if they don't make them anymore by the time I come to need more? Do I buy more now? Yeah. It's also a nice fetching shade of pink. I like it. It's odd. It's one of those weird things that it was only a few years ago that I started to realise that, you know, you can't assign gender to a colour. And I got over the whole pink is girly, because that's what I was brought up to believe. You know, pink is for girls, blue is for boys. You know, I don't see anything wrong with pink as a colour. In fact, I wish I had more shirts over pink. Not necessarily stupidly bright pink, but this pastel colour, that's fine. So yeah, it irritates me when people still post up stuff like, oh, we've heard it's going to be a girl, so we've painted the room pink. Oh, okay. Way to force it onto a child. I had a kid, I'd paint the room black and orange. If you're going to have a devil spawn, you might as well make it feel at home. Although the other part of me is like, hey, good, you're having a kid, do us all a favour and make sure you teach it properly. Don't rely on society to do your job. But that's just now me getting really nitpicky, so what? Of course, when you get to Tamamo, yeah. Funny thing was originally the opposite. Oh wow! Pink was seen as the more dominant and ostentatious colour, so it's assigned to boys, whereas blue is calm and serene, so assigned to girls. Did not know that. Still fun to know. Next time I see someone post up there, oh, I painted my room, this colour for this one, I'll be able to bring that up and say, so, you've decided to welcome in someone with that kind of colour scheme. Okay. And they'll be like, no, it's just because we want to. It's like, no, just paint it however. I mean, we always used to paint our rooms white. Because, white paint was cheap. I will admit, when I was growing up, I did have a room which was blue and white. So it was blue to about the 1/3 to halfway up the wall, and then white for the rest. And I liked that colour scheme, but it was a kind of a dark blue rather than the typical pastel blues that you normally see. And as a kid growing up, I was into Warhammer 40k, and I was one of those that kind of liked the Space Marine chapter, even though it was blue and yellow. I thought yellow was awful, so I did blue and white. So that's what I painted my army in, and when I got the chance to paint my own walls, I did it that because that's my colour scheme. But I had no idea at the time that was the male colour. I just painted it because I liked the blue. I think that's the main thing, as long as you can paint the room in a colour you can stand. Because your kid, especially a baby, ain't going to give a hoot. Right, hang on, I've got to try and figure out what I've done here. So, holding... Yeah, so I'm now... No jokes, but I'm going to try and draw my hand like this, so... If there's any strange movements with my hand like this, it's for art reference. When I get my own place, blue everywhere. Fuck your general. Oh god, that reminds me. When I lived back up north, and my parents separated, so my mum got her own house, and I moved in with her rather than stay with my dad. She had to get a house that was available and cheap on the market. So the one that we got, it was a bit of a fixer-upper, is one way of putting it. But the room that I got was wallpapered with red and white pinstripe, almost like barber stripes, just vertical stripes, all the way around the room, with a mid-height border of pigs on potties. Now, this is one of the old style houses where the ceiling was, 7 feet, 8 feet? It was bloody stupid. But it was this red and white thing all the way around the room. And when I say all, I mean all, including the back of the door. You got in there and closed the door, and you just went, and your eyes just started going nuts. So yeah, that quickly got painted. But yeah, pigs on potties. No idea why, but that's what they went with. The house didn't have a theme through it apart from Bod's job, if you will. My favourite, and my mum still kept it because it's one of these odd little things, but the toilet roll holder is a frog, and it's supposed to be when you pull on the roll, it spins a cam in the mouth, and the mouth's supposed to flap up and down. It doesn't, but it's this frog that holds your toilet roll. That's about the only original thing that's still in there. From when it last went up, a lot of it's all just been gotten rid of. But it used to be for ages, because it was all single glazed initially. My mum had to get double glazing put in, but they said they couldn't put it on one of these, by the front, get the rear free. They couldn't do all the rear because of the kitchen had a extension bit that came out and had more glass in it. So they basically said you'd have to not have one of the rooms at the back done. So we opted for the bathroom. Gordon Bennett getting out of the shower in the middle of winter in a room with single glazing. You didn't half dry yourself fast. Friction, heat me up. Yeah, that was fun. That, and it was an old style shower which relied on the water to heat up in the boiler. It wasn't an electric shower originally, so you turn the shower on and do all the stuff, and then come back to it like half an hour later, and you'd be getting a somewhat warm water coming through. That was fun. It's all been changed now, but that was a good part of growing up. The last parts of school and then college and stuff like that were there. Oh, the memories, the memories. I can just imagine my mum catching up on the stream now and she's like, "What are you doing, Tammy?" Yeah, she'd be fine with it. She'd probably laugh at it as well. This is the one thing that I sort of have glad I picked up from her, is her sense of humour. Which can be interesting, considering that, you know, she was a nurse in A&E, so it's a very dark sense of humour. Perhaps inappropriate at times, but medical professionals have a dark sense of humour because you need to laugh at things, especially some of the things that they see. So being able to laugh at them is a positive, and that hand is awful. That really is awful. You know what? Let's try it again. Let's sketch it out of the way properly. So let's just pull it out. I used to love hearing the stories that she'd tell us of some of the things that she did, or that she saw and all this sort of jazz. And there was one I remember. She was doing a night shift in A&E, and a couple of paramedics had been called to a nursing home because one of the patients there had died. Now, what the nursing home was doing was avoiding paperwork, because they could basically state that the person died en route to hospital, and therefore it wasn't, you know, something that had to be investigated by like any of the authorities' bodies and all that sort of stuff. It was just a natural death. Patient died on the way to hospital, not in the nursing home, so you don't have to investigate it for a death in the nursing home. So apparently it was like a common thing for them to do back then. I'm not sure if they still do it now, but wouldn't surprise me. But anyway, so the paramedics turn up, and they get this obvious corpse, because they went to move in into... Okay, that's fine, Seba. Yeah, they went to move into, like, the medical chair on wheels they had from his chair, and he was just stiff, moved. And they put him in the other chair, and his arms didn't actually rest on the rest that they had, because the armchair he passed away in was at a different height. So his arms were at a different height, and they're basically wheeling this stiff in. Anyway, they drive to the hospital. It's not their job to announce that someone is dead. So they drive to the hospital, get him there, and my mum was walking down the entranceway where they're coming in, and they've obviously been notified someone's coming in. It's not an emergency, this, that, and the other. So I was like, I'll get them booked in, this, that, and the other. And she sees them wheeling this unfortunate person in, and my mum just goes, "What the hell are you doing wheeling me a stiff in?" She's like, "He's dead. I can pronounce it from here." I was like, "What are you doing?" But, you know, that's the kind of humour that she's had. She was just like, "What are you doing with a stiff?" Down a hospital corridor. But, you know, that's half the dealing with the issues and stuff like that they see. And obviously it was not just signed off as dead, and they had to go through the whole process with it. And made sure that it was all done professionally, but they've got to have a giggle somewhere. You can't sort of turn around and say, "Oh, they're not allowed to laugh at things like that," just because of the shit that they see. You've got to sort of say, "You know what? If I was that guy, you know, that deceased person, and some medical professional was having a giggle over me being wheeled in, I'd like to think they had a laugh. I'd like to think that they at least had a chuckle, and it made their day better." Because, you know, just some of the other stuff that she would mention but not talk about because of what happened with it or all that sort of stuff. And she, in a way, I've sort of got her to thank for talking about people doing things with paracetamol overdose and stuff like that, and how bad it was. Because she always firmly believed if you actually told people what happens when you take a paracetamol overdose, people probably wouldn't take a paracetamol overdose if they wanted to kill themselves. So I have her to sort of thank for that, because that is always an easy route for people to go for, because paracetamol is so available. But thankfully, I know how awful it is. I appreciate that might be hitting a bit close on the mark, but yeah, it's at least that sort of helped in that way, because at least with what I did take, they managed to grab me afterwards. And I'm still here, whereas if it was paracetamol, I probably wouldn't. Willing yeah. My other favourite one as well was when she was a junior nurse. They had one of the doctors that she was working with was Dr. Woodcock, which seems to be a fairly common name because there's Dr. Woodcock down here as well. And there was one in my old GP surgery back up north, but it wasn't the same one. But anyway, my mum didn't know his name, but everyone called him Timberdick. So my mum, being my mum, needed to get something. She went up to him and she went, "Oh, Dr. Timberdick," and he just turned around with like the sternest face and went, "It's Woodcock, dear." And my mum was like, "Oh, sure." And then, sorry, just remembering another story that mum being a junior nurse, and she used to work in intensive care. So this is like going to be 80s, 90s, early 90s, I think it would be around this time. And they just got this brand new intensive care bed, yada yada yada, and all the all the big wigs from the NHS were around to look at this brand new thing that had been put in place. And my mum is this junior nurse, is going around, and one of her tasks was to empty the catheter bags. So she just walks into this room with all these big wigs and stuff, and they're around essentially a comatose patient, and they're all sort of talking about it. My mum just casually walks in, unclips the bag, puts the new bag in, and they'd gone quiet at this point because my mum had, just come in here, don't mind me. And then as she was leaving, everyone's like looking at her, and she was, "Oh, don't mind me, I'm just taking the piss." I like to think that at least some of those, shirt and tie people actually did chuckle at that. But yeah. Oh, seriously, some of the stories that my mum has from her nursing days are hilarious. I wish I could remember them all. But yeah, she's one. The best way to describe her is she'll call a spade until she trips over the fucking shovel. It's that kind of thing, she won't hold back. And again, I share some of the things where it's like when I get my words mixed up, and I'll say like the wrong word or put the wrong letter in the wrong word, and it's that kind of stuff. And Mum's done several of them, and I remember she was going in to get some curd tarts, which you just Google if you don't know what they are. But they were like a little treat that was a weird thing to have, but I really enjoyed them as a kid. Haven't had one in years. I'll have to get one when I go back up north. But yeah, my mum just casually walks into the shop and goes up to the account and goes, "Oh, I'll have 2 turd carts, please." And then she went, "Oh, wait, no, I mean, Thankfully, the assistant in between giggles knew what she meant. I'll have 2 turd carts. It's either that, or it's my aunt doing something. And I remember another story, they went to, I think it was Clitheroe Market, and there was a gentleman there that sold bird feed in like balls, which are like wrapped in or packed with fat, if you will, and stuff like that. So I don't know what the actual name is, but my mum and my aunt referred to them as fat balls because they're a ball of fat with bird feed in it. And me out thinking goes up to the guy who sells it. She goes, "Excuse me, do you have fat balls?" The guy's cracking up with laughter. My mum is howling with laughter. My gran is thankfully blissfully ignorant to what's just gone on. And the guy in between laughing goes, "Well, yeah, he says, I've got them of different sizes. What size were you looking for?" And they hadn't cottoned on to what she said. So yeah, my aunts couldn't understand why the guy was giggling and my mum was howling with laughter. Oh. But yeah, this reminds me as well, going back to London. Going back to London? Going back to when I was a kid in London, we went to visit. And this was about ankle high at this point. It was probably about 5, 6, 7-ish, give or take. I was young. And I remember we were outside one of the guards' houses with the guards on the horses and everything. And because we were like typical northerners and stuff like that, we believed that these guards, because they're always dead serious all the time, they were like statues and they couldn't be seen to be human, if you will. They're royal guards and all this. And my gran really liked horse racing and stuff like that. She mostly liked the horses more than the horse racing itself. But she always liked seeing a good performance horse, if you will. And she was talking about this horse that this guard was on. It was groomed to perfection, a fantastic body, very well trained to be standing so firm amongst such a crowd. And she was hosting praise upon this horse for how it looked. And as she's doing all this, Mum just went, "Aye, and the horse ain't too bad either," like staring at this guard, and the guard started bursting out laughing, and we're like, "Oh shit, my god, we just broke him, quick, run before they arrest us." But oh, bless it. At least the guard got a chuckle from it all. But yeah. Oh. I think that was the year that I remember being in the National History Museum. I remember watching, there was something on like a cartoon or something, and a kid would comb his hair sideways, and I remember kept trying to do that because I always thought that would look cool. And I remember standing in the National History Museum with this comb in my hand, and I had shades on, and I was staring into this very reflective display, combing my hair to one side, like, yeah, comb, yeah. God, what a potential mug I must have been at that age. Just a little kid, but cats. I need to draw cats. Yeah. So it is important to remember that these guys can laugh, they can be human, but at the time we were like, these are like almost like robotic guards, and we felt like we'd broken him, making him laugh at. But yeah, it was just so much fun because again, my gran she didn't cotton on, she didn't show that she cottoned on, and yeah, she was just heaping praise onto this horse. And then Mum was just like, yeah, the horse isn't bad either. Pretentiously precocious, a little from column A, a little from column B. Let's just do cat sitting. Oh no, I'm going onto the internet to find cat images. Will I find any? Okay, I type in cat sitting and I get... Oh no, because it's thinking of... Right, yeah, I get it. It's thinking of cat sitting as a job, profession. That's what I want, cat sitting poos. Oh, that's a good one. Oh god, that is an awful looking cat. It's one of those that just looks like a scrotum with legs and eyes. I don't know what breed they are, but they're like the furless ones, and I just can't help but think they're just basically elbow, skin, scrotum, and eyes. Probably with claws and an attitude, but, you know, I'd have an attitude if I had no bloody fur. Does this mean you were a lewd lolly once? Probably. Probably. I'm sure that if I spoke to my mum, she could come up with stories of me doing embarrassing things as a kid quite easily. I mean, she does it from my brother, though. One of my favourites is my mum decided to try and do the proper quote-unquote thing of taking kids to church. You know, and trying to do this whole let's try this religion thing. So, you know, first step of that, take your kids to church. Okay, we'll do that. So she went on I was going to say on like Sunday, so duh, of course, it's church. But it was like a particular event kind of Sunday, if you will. And she sat at the back because she's like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing, you know, it's all a bit, I'm not sure about this. And my brother went up to get a palm cross, which essentially is 2 sticks, you know, with the shape of a crucifix. So my brother goes up to get this. So I was only a baby at this point. And my brother walks past everyone, because we were sat right at the back. Walks past everyone, right up to the front, and my mum's sort of going, oh, he's doing good, he's looking all nice and proper, and he finally gets hold of the, again, palm cross. My brother gets handed this, grabs it by the short end, and then runs down the aisle towards Mum going, hey Mum, look, Vickers gives me a sword. Mum's back going, it's a cross, turn it around, it's a cross. We never went to church again after that. If it's something to thank my brother for. Yeah. This is going to be the kind of thing that I'm probably going to regret talking about old life stories, because if I ever do somehow make it big and famous, I've just managed to put all this up on the internet anyway. But then again, if I ever do manage to make it big and famous, I'll be talking about these anyway, so to be no skin off my nose. If I can make people giggle with the stupid stories, then why not? I was about to say, my god, this cat looks demonic, and then I'm like, I'm drawing a cat. Of course it's going to look a bit demonic. That's what cats do. If they're not plotting the demise of the human race, they're sleeping. And this part of the reason I like cats is they can have such hilarious personalities. I mean, the first cat that I remember as a kid, because apparently we had several when I was younger, but I don't remember them. I was just too young to really know that they were our cats, I think. But the first one I remember, which we had originally given the name Chloe, but thanks to me and my brother just calling it Demog, that's the name it ended up with, because that's all it would answer to. And some people say cats don't answer to names. No, Demog would answer to Demog. You could call Demog and it would come running over. Yeah, it grew up with our old dog. And this is where I say the name of our old dog, and people go, isn't that a porn magazine? I'm like, no, it was actually a dog on TV. But it's also the name of the porn magazine. Called Razzle. Spelt differently to the magazine, by the way. But Razzle was the dog that I grew up with, and as such, I was one of Razzle's pups, if you will. It was, you could definitely sense she was a Jack Russell / Terrier crossbreed, and for the most part, she would, like a typical dog, be able to, I won't say follow orders, it sounds kind of hard, but I could give instruction and the dog would follow, for the most part. However, she also had a bit of a, I won't say temper, because again, that's the wrong word. I was a pup to her, and as such, if I stepped out of line in her eyes, she'd put me back in line. Now, she wouldn't bite, she'd nip. She'd basically get your skin in her teeth and just squeeze hard, and it would hurt like buggeroo. It'd be very, very rare that any blood would be drawn, but it was the kind of thing that like a mother dog would do to a pup, just nip the skin to be like, oi, you've stepped out of line. And it worked a treat, I knew when Razzle showed her teeth, I'd be like, yep, that's it. I've overstepped my line here and whatnot. It could be something as simple as I went into the kitchen to get something and I'd be like, oh, hi Razzle, I've reached down to touch her in the basket, and she'd be like, no. I'd be like, yep, you don't want stroking. Other times I could go in there and stroke her in the basket, not a problem, but there was some days she didn't want that, and I was like, yep, that's fine. But bless her, I remember growing up with Razzle, and the numerous things that we used to do, and I can remember with her as well. But when we got the cat, Demog, Razzle brought the cat up, because we got the cat as a little kitten. Razzle brought the cat up as a pup, and as such, the cat was probably confused as all hell, because it was part dog in a way. Used to go for walks with us, so when Mum would take the dog out for a walk at night, the cat would come, and it was then that if we called the dog, we could call the cat, and the cat would also come trundling over. But as a show of dominance, I guess, Razzle would chase the cat, but only for a short distance and stop. So the cat got used to this, and after Razzle passed away, because bless her, she did live a good life. She lived an old life, and then she passed away. Was it about 14, 15? I think I was. Yeah, I was still in school at the time. I was coming towards the end of school, so it would have been about 14, 15, maybe even 16 when she finally passed away. But the cat then, got, obviously missed Razzle, but carried on, and got used to the lonely life. And then we got another dog from a rescue centre, and this was called Pippa. And Pippa was a Heinz 57. We had no idea what breed was in her, but there was many. And the first time that Pippa saw the cat, Pippa, in dog mod, went, cat must chase the cat. So the cat ran away, and then stopped, being like, haha, that's as far as the chase goes. Turned around, and this dog is still chasing her, and the cat was like, oh my god, the dog's chasing, and ran off in this mad panic. Eventually, when we saw the cat again, the tail was like a bog brush, just like full out, long, stiff, and all the hair is sticking out, and the cat's like, what the hell? Ever since that moment, the cat had it in for Pippa. When we moved into the mum's house, some of the doors didn't close on the latch. They'd close, but not on the latch, and you could open them with a good push. The cat figured this out by hitting the dog. The dog would run into the door, open the door, and the cat would walk through. So if the cat ever needed to go through the door, the cat would sit there, wait for the dog to come by, hit the dog. The dog, being kind of daft, didn't realise the cat was hitting it, would run into the door in a panic to open it and get through, and then the cat just casually sauntered through, and we're like, what the hell? If the cat wanted to have the fireplace, and when we had the fire on and the dog was on the rug, stretched out and everything, the cat would come along, hit the dog would get up in a panic and run off, and not think like going for the cat, because the dog didn't realise the cat was doing it. But the best one of that was my mum at the sewing machine. She had this little ankle destroyer table, if you will, the kind of thing that at midnight is going to take your shins out. And she's done with the sewing, so she puts the sewing machine to one side, and she's still got the table out, and the cat jumped up onto the table. But because my gran had been around and decided to polish, she'd polished this table. So the table was rather frictionless. So the cat leaps up on the table, skids on the table, falls off the edge onto the dog. The dog gets up in this mad panic as usual, runs off, and the cat gets up and he's like, oh my god, what the hell? Me and my mum are howling with laughter, and the cat, honestly, is looking at between one and two of us. It's like looking at us both with a look in the eyes of, shut up humans, I meant to do that, and then doing this whole licking of the paw and then trying to wash its ear. Yeah, and honestly, it tried to look like, I meant to do that. Shut up, I meant to do that. And the day we discovered the cat figured out how to open the microwave was entertaining. Coming home, my mum had found a chicken that she'd put in the microwave on the kitchen floor, and the dog and the cat had been eating it, and my mum was like, how the hell did it get there? And then we figured out that where the cat would put its food up on a shelf so the dog didn't eat its food, directly across from it was the microwave, and the cat saw that we went to the microwave, pressed a button, door opened. So the cat had seen the chicken go in, and the cat had figured out that if it pushed hard enough on this button, the door would ping open. It's like, you crafty little beggar. Yeah. I kind of miss having pets, but it wouldn't be right to have one now. I'm not home for them. If I was at home, I might be able to worm getting a pet with the landlord. But as it stands, I just wait for him to come around with his dog, and I'll let his dog have a few pets and stuff like that. That's a pure breed Jack Russell, full of energy as they are. But yeah, usually he'll come around and he'll be working in the shop, so he doesn't let the dog in there, and the dog will be pining at the door, making noise. So I just open my door and let it come in and run around my room for a bit, as it does. Or if it's got lots of energy and the weather's good, I tend to run around outside and tire it down that way. No, that's not right. So that, I have to try and make that cat like that. So let's just put the paws higher up. That cat is evil, yeah. Devious is what I would describe the Mog as. Bless it, and the poor thing. Pippa died before the Mog. Ended up getting, I think it was like an infection in her stomach and intestines, because Pippa, bless her, we're not sure what happened to her before we got her. But she would eat anything. It was almost like she was starved. She was definitely beaten before we got her, because she was very shy of contact for a lot of time. And she didn't like kids. She'd be scared of them. So I assume that was also something in there, to be a rough play and stuff like that. But for a while when we got her, she did not want to go anywhere near anyone. In a way, it's one of the good things I like about rescue pets, is you can give them a better life than what they had previous. But yeah, she used to eat anything and everything, almost as if she didn't know when the next meal was coming, despite the fact that we would feed her regularly. But this would mean she'd eat random off the streets, and I think that probably got to her in the end, and just something, yeah, she ended up unfortunately having to be put down, which was a shame. But you know, at least she had a good time. And bless it, the Demog had seen another figure pass, so it was only like, I think, a week or two afterwards that the Mog died. my mum was saying that the Mog was never the same after Pippa went. It was almost like, it just went, oh, what's the point? I mean, the Mog by that point was old as well, but yeah, it was a bit of a kick in the teeth. But still, my mum now has a dog called Katie, who is this big, very big dog. My mum thought it was going to be a smaller one, but no. When she first said to me that she'd made a mistake and got a big dog, because as a pup, Katie looked small, and my mum thought she'd stay that way. And then I opened the front door to the house, and Katie came up and placed her front paws on my shoulders and looked me in the eyes. And I'm like, yeah, you're not a small dog, are you? And she's also got a cat called Mouse, because that's how we name things. But it's more to do with the way the cat meows. It doesn't actually meow, it just goes meow, meow. And I'm like, oh, you're going to be called Mouse. Bless it, the cat's got like a permanently runny nose, and it's got all sorts wrong with it, bless it. And no one wanted it at the cat shelter because it had all these things wrong with it. And people were like, oh no, it's a defective cat. And my mum was like, yeah, but it's got character. So, yeah, she chose Mouse, despite all the flaws. I now get evils whenever I go back, because Mouse has taken up residence on what used to be my bed. So when I go back up there and my bed's cleared for it, I'm taking Mouse's space. What dare you, human? Whereas Katie just licks everything. And tries to climb on my shoulders when I'm sat down, because Katie doesn't realise she's a big dog. So we're sat on the couch and Katie tries to sneak up, so it'll be one paw, then the other paw, then it hoist, and I'm like, you're not doing that stealthily. Every time you put a paw on the chair, I can feel the chair move, let alone when you try and sit on it and I can feel your weight tilting the chair. And once she's squeezed up on, she's then trying to put a paw behind your back, because she used to rest behind, like almost across the back of my mum's shoulders as a pup. So she tries to do that now, and I'm like, you can't, Katie, you're too big. So instead, if I'm wearing short sleeves, it's my arm gets a wash. I'm just like, better the arm than the ears. I don't mind dogs licking my arm, hands, legs, things like that. Doesn't bother me. But face, ears, no. No. I know what you've done with your tongue. Be gone with you. But yeah, it's one of the things you get used to as a dog owner. You tend to get licked a lot, and you're just like, yeah, it doesn't bother me. I can wash that part afterwards. Cat tongues were a weird experience when I first had it. Never had a cat lick me before, and I didn't realise that the tongues are essentially made out of the same stuff that nails are. They've got like essentially tons of little scratchy little nails on them. That's why the tongues feel like sandpaper. As if Frank teaches. Now, do I want to draw it as a puddle, or shall I just leave it as... I might just leave it as the pavement, being a bit wet. No, let's not draw that side. Let's leave that open to the... So yeah, just leave it as the pavement being a bit wet. Let's draw a curb. Just to get a rough idea. And I don't know whether I want to still have the crash barrier, if I want to try go for something different. Oh. Maybe a house? Put like a front door? So the cats are waiting outside the front door. It'd explain why the cats are there, I guess. She sees the cats waiting outside. So I'm probably not going to line the background in, but it'd be nice to have an idea of it. And the advantage to doing stuff like this, I can change what I originally did. Actually, if I do it as a garden wall, that looks slightly better. He says waiting to try and think if he can get his vanishing points done right. Or would it be there? No, no. Oh, god damn, that's awful. I'm not going to worry too much about what's happening. Maybe put another fence post in there just to frame the image out a bit. And give it the indication that it's a row of houses. Let's see the top of that stone. Drop that down there. Put a window. And have so put that to there. Depth to the garden. Front door of the next door neighbours. Window. I've got that window about that high. No, that won't work. Or it might, but I'm going to have to adjust the size of stuff. Because otherwise, if she stands up, that wall's about knee high? Bit low. Need a bigger wall. But that's an idea I can work on, I think. So, now I'm trying to think, how high is the wall at the moment? Sort of what I'm thinking. Usually you get like a garden wall's going to be about hip height as such, so maybe looking at about that high for the wall. Oh, right, yep, no worries. Thank you very much for that. One advantage to doing the stream a bit later is my alarm to do the shop will also remind me as well. I was hoping to try and get this coloured today, but I guess not. It'll be something I can work on. I'll sketch up some background ideas on a separate sheet and put them on. I like the idea of changing the background from the original, which was next to a roadside on the middle of nowhere almost, and just two random cats. Whereas this, where at least the cats make more sense being outside a house, and it's just the rain falling down, so they'd have a spot of dryness under the umbrella. So yes, I shall line up Loyu and the cats. I still can't draw cats. They look freaking weird. I think it's their eyes. Their eyes look weird. Let me just... Oh, wait, no. Too much zoom. Come on, camera. Focus. Focus. Camera does not want to focus. Yeah, their eyes look really weird. So I might muck around with the cats. But I can do that off stream. But yeah, at least it's in a way an improvement, I guess. I still don't know. The eyes. That's my alarm going off. Whoosh. So the eyes, I'm not sure on still. I still like almost them eyes. The inner ones I might dick around a bit more with the eyes, but again, I'll do that off stream. But I feel that the face is more rounded, not as flat, which I think is what was getting me on the first one. The face felt too flat. So that's, again, it's something I'll work on and have a muck around with and see how we go on that. And then, like I said, I'll probably end up posting that one up on Discords and Instagram and stuff like that. And I'll probably also post it on my Pixiv once I'm done. As I said, for next week, I'm kind of liking the idea of doing that Medusa picture. So I might sketch a few rough ideas up, and then next week we can tackle that. So we'll do a bit of fan art next week. I'm also wondering if I should do an extra art stream. I'll think about it. I might do it on a Monday. Just to try and get something in. Again, because I'm not going to get a chance to do it at work. And whereas when I was off work, I could sketch at any point I wanted. Now I don't have that time, and I don't want it to be essentially one day a week that I do art. I want to try and keep myself going on it, because it has helped to do art to get stuff out of my head, whatever it may be. Sometimes just drawing it on paper has helped, albeit sometimes it can be a bit, yes, but it gets ideas out of my head and they're not in my head and they're on paper, and I can get rid of the paper afterwards. But otherwise it's nice to get, I've had more ideas coming up for things, like story-wise as well. I keep thinking I should really try and sit down and start typing it up. I'll set myself a time aside and say, right, maybe on a Sunday before I do my Pathfinder game, at least until I start doing the miniature railway. That's the other problem with that. That's going to be starting again May. I think we're looking to do that. We're putting in a lot of social distancing measures and all this sort of jazz, and we're hoping to start up again. So seeing as we haven't actually run the miniature Steam event since 2019, it'd be nice to do that again. Anywho, I shall wrap it up there because I need to run off and do the shop and probably get myself something to eat. And then, as I said, I'll tackle that over the next few days when I get in from work. And yes, I think I'll see what I can do in terms of sketch-wise for ideas for that rider image. That could be kind of entertaining to do, and I think Yusan would probably like that. So yes, I'll do that. I'll come up with that, and then next week we can look at focusing on that. In terms of streams, so this stream I've now moved to 7, just because with work, I want to make sure I've got a gap when I finish work to get home and recharge, ready to stream. And considering how I felt today, and I had plenty of a gap, I didn't want to risk it finishing at 5, getting home, recharging in time for 6, so I moved it to 7. So this is going to be from 7 onwards. Nier is from 7 on Friday, and then on Saturday, round about 9 to 9:30 is when we're looking to start that stream. It depends on when we get stuff done. I believe this week we're looking to go back into Deep Rock just to allow Kuro and Tsubasa Ray to, if you will, get their money's worth out of that game. So we're probably going to be going to Deep Rock again, but it also gives me a chance to test my settings to see if it works for that. I found out that it doesn't work for the Division. Bummer. But yeah, that's just my computer. When I got it, I didn't spec it for streaming because I never assumed I'd ever stream. So it was just pure gaming. The game runs fine. It's the streaming it can't handle. But yeah, so we'll test Deep Rock again and see. I think this. I can't remember if we tested the settings already. Actually, I think we may have. In which case, yes, we're doing that anyway. Just and muck around with that. So I shall. We shall see who's. I've got to keep remembering to try and raid people. My brain keeps forgetting on this part. I guess this part I'm just like, let's have a look. Let's see if they've got any cats on their cat cafe. Because, cat cafe. Oh, bloody adverts. Adverts. Always adverts. Oh, wait, I just want to see what it's like. Why do they have to be so long? It's the one thing at least I don't mind with YouTube is their adverts about 4 seconds long and I like that. And this is like a full-blown advert. I'm like, I'm not here to care about the adverts. I want to find out if there's cats. Oh my giddy aunt. Right, okay. That's taken like 6 years for that. Okay. Brain is not willing to sit there and do that. So I'm just going to say, right. Yeah, there's no one to rate at the minute. I'm just going to leave it. I'll try and... I need to try and get more people I know who stream after when I do, so I can just go raid them. Anyway, thank you all very much for turning up and listening to me mumble on about nonsense whilst I, failed horrifically at what I was going to do. I'll get this lined in and cut. Yeah, that didn't work. But yes, thank you for turning up. Enjoy the rest of your evening / morning, depending on when or where you're watching this. And I hope to catch up with you all on the next stream. Toodles!